Hi, I'm Heather, a certified personal trainer, yoga instructor, and have my BS in exercise science and behavioral coaching from Arizona State University. I currently live in Oregon with my 3 kids, who I will reference often.
And I'm Britt, a former Division I collegiate athlete turned recreational triathlete and fitness instructor. I have a degree in exercise biology from the UC Davis, and I currently live in Belgium with my husband and 4 kids.
Together, we're best friends wanting to bring the world of health and fitness back to a more grounded and balanced place that's accessible to everyone.
Each episode, we're going to talk about ways to live out a well-rounded and healthy life that makes sense in today's modern, busy world. We'll cover topics related to exercise, nutrition, mindset, mental health, competition, and so much more.
So sit back,
Sign up,
and let's get ready to race to wellness. But I was talking with the kids yesterday. So my middle kiddo wanted to make sugar cookies for one of his friends for his birthday that is today. And so then, of course, my youngest son was like, I want to make cookies. And so we were looking, he wanted to make chocolate chip cookies. And so we were looking for a recipe. And there's Sally's Baking Addiction is a website that I trust her recipes because consistently every time that I go to her page and I try a recipe, it works, which is not true of all websites or all that kind of stuff. And so I think about that a lot actually when it comes to like fitness stuff. Like anybody can put information on the internet, but how are we looking at that information? Is it correct? Are they speaking from experience? Are they speaking from, I saw a video and so I'm going to do it and copy it? And what does that look like? It's just super important. Yeah. And once you find those ones, I feel like what I do as a person on social media is once I find somebody who gives really good information about health and fitness and diet, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, I really stick with that person for a long time because I'm not interested in jumping around to a bunch of different information and vetting a whole bunch of people all the time. So I just kind of stick to my top 5, I would say, of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, also it's nice to see them how they phrase things and like how they tackle stuff, because depending on how trends in society is, like it could be against the grain of what they're talking about, and then the pendulum swings and now it's not so against the grain. And so it's interesting to see how they like manage being in the minority on opinions versus being in the majority of opinions and things like that.
Yeah, and how they handle that, because you'll get pushback online as a person
lot.
who's in the public light a lot. Yeah. And especially a lot of people or influencers will get like followers and groupies kind of thing, and they will go and attack anybody that uses information or against that person that they're following. I think of a very specific, not related to health and fitness, but there's a specific media influencer who has a huge following related to hair. You might know who I'm talking about. But we don't name names here, except for Sally's Baking Addiction. She deserves all the love. Her pastries are so good. Anyway, so carrying on. But that person, like their followers are wild. And I'm like, they're presenting misinformation a lot of times. And you're just going along with it because you just love them as a personality. And that's not really cool. Like it's not.
Yeah. It's one thing to be in someone's corner, like if they're trying to do the right thing, or like, I don't know, they're growing pains or something like that. But like to be in their corner to root for them and cheer for them. And it's another to actively go out and like attack people who are trying to be like, I'm not sure that this is correct.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So in case you haven't noticed, today we're talking about social media and multi-level marketing and what that looks like in online world. I will say it's something that I've really come to realize is that like there's real life environment with people that we interact with outside of the internet. And then there's a whole culture and community, all sorts of stuff with online that's really fascinating. And I tend to find myself on the positive side of that. With the content that I'm looking for, I find a lot of positive. But I know that a lot of people end up in a really negative space. And so if this is something that you're experiencing as a listener, where you just feel like, God, my social media really just gets me down, Some of the tips and stuff that we're going to talk about today are going to be a great way for you to kind of filter through the nonsense and through the negative and find the positive stuff.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, it's so I come from I think a very different space than you come from when it comes to thinking about social media and multi-level marketing, because I don't think
Yeah.
you've ever been in a multi-level marketing.
Oh, I did Mary Kay for
Oh, I
like
did Mary Kay too.
yeah, for like, girl, can you picture me? I'm like, it is
No, I cannot.
a troubling thought for me to put on makeup every day.
That's not
Like,
funny.
like literally my kids, like they'll come to the bathroom and they'll be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm putting on makeup. And they're like, why? Like, because
Yeah.
I'm going out to do something nice, like a concert, or
Yeah.
it's like, it doesn't happen all the time. It is not a real
Yeah.
thing. I can't imagine being a Mary Kay lady now.
So, okay, I take it back. You were part of an MLM, but you
For
were
a
part
very
of it
short amount of time.
before social
Mhm.
media kind of kicked in. And I think that's a huge difference in a way
Yeah.
when we think about them, because they can now reach such a broader audience.
Mm-hmm.
And it, it's more of like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Never mind.
Okay.
I was trying
Yeah.
to be like, it's
I
more like
definitely,
toxic now, but it was probably just as toxic then.
it's toxic in a different way, I would think.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. Because I still am friends with a couple of ladies who sell Mary Kay and do very well at it. But it's interesting that they're now starting to get into the like get ready with me trend and using Mary Kay makeup and that kind of stuff. And I don't want to dog on the company. Like I think that some of their values are really lovely and what they do and stand for, that's really nice. I think that that's why I got into it, was because I was
Mhm.
this promise of whatever. But their product, I'm just going to say I didn't love their product. I was like,
It's so
especially when you use,
expensive.
it's so expensive, and for the quality, like there's so many other products on the market, especially nowadays, that the quality is just better for less money. And that's
Mhm.
that's where I stand.
I think that's a theme for a lot of the MLMs too. So if you think
Mm-hmm.
about moving into more of the nutritional side of ones,
Mm-hmm.
they have a product that claims it is like your complete meal or whatever, but it's
Mm-hmm.
way more expensive than any sort of comparative product that you can buy at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's not better. It's
No.
just the fact that it's an MLM type of product that they can get away with charging a lot more money.
Yeah, because it's exclusive. It's like a
Yeah.
membership sort of thing. Yeah. I'm like, which just gives me, honestly, when I'm looking at products and that kind of stuff, anything that has fancy colors splashed all over it or has the best written anywhere, or like all these big flashy things that are trying to get your attention, those sorts of products for me are the ones where I'm like, no, I'm not interested in that, because you're trying to sell me something which very much feels like snake oil. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather have something with a simple packaging that like mom and pop brands where it's just very like basic on there. There's not a lot. It tells me that they don't financially have the money to put into marketing, which means that hopefully the money that they do have in their business is going toward the product, toward the quality of the product.
I'm not the opposite, but I am fine with like packaging and flashy colors and whatever. My
Yeah.
issue comes from if I can only buy this product through another person who is
Mm-hmm.
like your seller of it, and they're
Sounds like a drug dealer situation.
right? Like I
It's
can't
like,
go directly to the company and buy it. I have to buy it through this
yeah,
person. Like that
yeah.
makes me like annoyed and a little bit like, I don't know that I want to do this, because do I really trust
Mm-hmm.
that Susie over here has my best interest in mind when she's trying to get me to buy
Yeah.
something?
Or that Susie is going to be in this MLM long enough for me to continuously buy from her. Like, that's real life.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
so you have
a
some experience with
oh yeah.
Beachbody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I've said this before on a couple of other podcasts. I have nothing against Beachbody's workouts and the way that they kind of structure like that portion, like the exercise portion. I think their workouts are fine. They're designed by people who know what they're doing, who have certifications. You will get
Mm-hmm.
results if you're doing the workout properly and fueling your body appropriately. The issues that I have with them are one related to how they think about nutrition, which
Mm-hmm.
is sort of, so I still follow them. I'm no longer a coach with them, coach, quote unquote. Um, but I still follow them online to see like what sort of trends and cool things they're trying to put out now.
Mm-hmm.
So their nutrition has sort of changed, but also hasn't changed. Like I personally
Okay.
think that they severely underfuel. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Because they're trying to get
it is what it
results for
is.
their people,
They're
and
they're
they're
trying to get
not
you results as
necessarily doing it in
quickly
a
as
healthy way.
possible. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, but this isn't sustainable. You're having them eat
Mm-hmm.
1,200 calories a day and working out. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
yeah.
not for the long term. Thinking about their strategy as far as the business goes, it makes sense if you can in any way help somebody to lose weight quickly, the like rush of dopamine that those people get from that will make them sign up for whatever coaching position that they want you
Or
to be in.
nutritional products.
Or
What they really
mm-hmm.
want you to do is sign up to be a coach, and then you get on their like subscriptions of like, you are now the
Mm-hmm.
product, the proof of the product. So you need to be using the products. And so
Mm-hmm.
they've got everything. They've got pre-workouts, they've got meal replacement shakes, they've got collagen now, they've got um
So much.
so much things. They've gotten rid of a few things and I was like, oh, that was actually a fairly okay product, but whatever.
Yeah.
But all of their products are so expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive. Most of them are like 2 to 3 times as
More.
much more than what you could get of a similar
Mm-hmm.
product at the grocery store,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah. I'm like, that's so wild. As somebody like I don't use any, I don't want to say any products. So I've used products from like a protein shake. I tried like two of them out of a giant thing that I got from Booty. And then I've tried like pre-workouts and that kind of stuff before. I'm severely allergic to caffeine, so I have to use the non-stim kind. And I've actually found a product that I like. I'm not going to mention it here because I don't know what their company stands for, all that kind of stuff right at the moment. And I'm not interested in, I'm just drinking the drink because it feels good. Let
That's all
it
I
be. That's all I
need.
need right now. Anyway, so as somebody that doesn't like use meal replacement stuff and just like tends toward whole foods and that kind of stuff, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around the products like that people are wanting to buy because it's not something that I normally buy. Um, but I can understand the marketing side of it, like
Mhm.
how they pull you in, what it looks like, and what that feels like for people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also what I feel like amazing for someone who is the absolute beginner. If you have
Mm-hmm.
no idea how to start, what to do, anything, I think that it's
Mm-hmm.
great for your first couple of months. Yes, it's going to be more expensive because all of the products cost a lot more.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be something that you could get a comparable thing from the grocery store. But
Mm-hmm.
what it does do is it gives you it already laid out very simple for you. This is
Mm-hmm.
this. This is what you take. This is this.
Yeah.
This is what you take. This is your workout. This is what you do. So,
Yeah.
as a complete and utter beginner, a couple of months with that is probably something that will help you in the long run to start to build some healthy habits and like
Mm-hmm.
open your mind to what these other things are, because you may
Yeah.
not know anything about protein powders or pre-workouts or hit or pre-workouts or hit workout for exercise. You might not
Yeah.
know a single thing, but this is giving it to you mostly in a easy to digest package.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then the other flip side is what I was talking about, if they underfuel you with your meal plans and things, you have to
Mm-hmm.
know a little bit of, oh, this is probably not a long-term solution for me. I can't
Mm-hmm.
sustain this for much more than a couple of months at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things, like a lot of times when I work with people, especially people who have been dieting for a long time and they're like, I'm not seeing results and I don't understand why. When they start working with me, then I have to talk them through like fueling their body, like changing that mindset of you're not like food is fuel for your body. I wish that there was some other way to like think of it so that it was like more positive. But when I think about food in my body, I don't necessarily always think about the taste of the food and whether like that kind of stuff. I think about very much, is it fueling my body? Yes, I'm going to eat this because I need the fuel in my body to do XYZ that I have coming up in my life.
Mhm.
Versus I eat food because it's so pleasant. I think that a lot of times people get caught up in this idea that what we eat all the time needs to be really pleasurable for us. And sorry to tell you, it doesn't, and it shouldn't. Like, we should be consistently eating to fuel our bodies. And then the really good, really pleasant, really calorie dense food should be like, oh my God, it's so good because I only have it once in a while.
Mhm.
That's not related to MLMs. This is just a food thing. Yesterday,
Yeah,
speaking
but it
of
kind
my
of is
treats,
related.
yeah, kind of. So yesterday, so one of my favorite things is from Tout le Jour, and it's a croissant. Their croissants are so good, but it's a croissant filled with chantilly cream and then fresh strawberries. And oh my God, like I brought it to the gym and shared it with people because it's so good.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about with MLMs?
I'm sure it will come back when we start
Yeah,
talking about social
social
media
media.
because a lot
Yeah,
of
that
their
connection.
marketing and everything now comes through social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. It's fascinating because when I see fitness people or nutrition people on social media, it's interesting to see the type of content that they're putting out. And like a lot of times in the images and in the videos and that kind of stuff that they're showing, they're not showing the product. They themselves are supposed to be the product, is what you said earlier. Yeah, and so you have to dive a little bit deeper and find, what is this person actually trying to tell me? Because we've talked about before with media. So media literacy is something that we want to talk about today, about understanding that every media outlet out there, including social media, each individual person is their own media source on social media. And so they all have an agenda of some sort. Some of it is really positive. There's a lot of positive that comes from it. Like, people are just trying to make people laugh by doing funny videos and that kind of stuff. But there's also a lot of marketing that goes into that, and research that happens, especially as you have supporters and as you have sponsors and that kind of stuff. And so being able to vet information and understand what is good for you, what is not good for you, what product they're trying to sell you, who's trying to make money from this advertisement, because really everything that we put online is in some way an advertisement for the business or the work or the product or whatever. And so we have to be able to look at that with a grain of salt and say, is this something positive for me? And if it's not, walk away from that person. There are plenty of social media influencers that I love. I think that they're hilarious. I like their content, that kind of stuff. But if they're trying to sell me something that is not good for me, or they're trying to push a diet plan that is detrimental for people's health, I'm not interested in following you on social media. There's also, I mean, the number of people that I've followed on, like, I think of, there's a fitness influencer out there, a gentleman who is very crass in his approach, which is what people like. He's very much like, there's no bullshit, that kind of stuff is what he talks about. And he just breaks it down like calories in, calories out is what he talks about all the time. That's his shtick that he talks about. And people will say to him, nutritionist and registered dietitian nutritionist will be like, no, there are so many other things that impact it. And he blanket statement covers it and says, nope, calories in, calories out. And for the majority of people, that works. But there's enough people that experience depression, anxiety, mental health issues, hormone imbalances, underlying conditions, like all of that kind of stuff that impacts their ability to lose weight, that it's not okay. It's not, in my opinion, it's not okay. So anytime that I see videos from this person come up, I again take it with a grain of salt and say, was it funny? Can I appreciate it for its face value? Sure. Am I going to support this person by following them, commenting, sharing their information, any of that kind of stuff? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. This is trash.
No, this is trash. I was like, I'm glad you were funny this one time. But no, I'm not supporting
Yeah.
what you're doing because it is detrimental. And especially like there's never going to be a fitness influencer online who gets it perfectly right for every person that follows them. Never, ever, ever. There are too many people in the world. But there has to be some humility and humanity in it and being like, hey, this is why I'm creating this content. I understand. I have a deep understanding that this is not like for everybody, but what I'm putting out is positive and can be helpful for people. And if this doesn't work for you, maybe I could coach you in a different way. Like maybe that's just the persona that this person is taking on. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can coach you in a different way outside of social media light, something like that. And I don't
Yeah.
know if that person does that. I have no idea.
No idea. Well, I feel like right now, at least, so much of what's being pushed through TikTok, Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook are these like quick videos, like reels and things like that, that you have to get their attention really quick or they're just going to keep going because there's millions and millions of them out there. Like, why am I
Mm-hmm.
watching this? And so to be successful, the formula right now is to have these blanket statements of you're
Mm-hmm.
not losing weight because you're eating cheeseburgers or whatever the comment is that they're saying.
Yeah.
Like right up front, it's the blanket statement that I mean, maybe it's true for a couple of people, but it's not true for every single person out there who's not losing weight.
Yeah. I was like, there's whole countries that only eat pasta, and
Yeah.
look at them. They look great.
They look amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I think of someone who I did comment on their video. It was about why you're not losing belly fat. And she has
Mm-hmm.
good tips. Her things are perfectly fine for her rationale. But the
Mm-hmm.
way she structured her video was these are the only things. And if you do these three things, you will
Oh.
lose your belly fat. And I was like, that's not exactly true because
Mm-hmm.
what about those who have hormone imbalances? That
Mm-hmm.
belly fat's not going away unless you fix your hormone imbalances there. And
Yeah.
they didn't really like my comment.
I remember this. Or they made a whole video about Brit.
They did. But my comment wasn't rude. It wasn't mean. It wasn't anything. I
No.
even called out that their information was great.
But there's like a high that comes from it, I think, for
There.
some people, like the argument on the internet. And I am not interested in that. I'm not fighting people on the internet. Nope.
I have no intention to fight with the lady with the parrot on her shoulder in front of 7-Eleven.
Right. That's what it is. I was like, these people, what?
Yeah. Side note on that, my husband and I are rolling with this theory of at least half of the traffic on the internet is all bots. Like
Oh yeah.
the names are real, but it's not a real person commenting on any of these. And when you
Yeah.
start to dig into a lot of these comments, it makes total sense. This is our
Mhm.
conspiracy. Here's where our tinfoil hats come on and everything. Because they're broken English, but it's like
Mhm.
Bob Johnson. And it's like this person should understand how to structure this sentence
Yeah.
because their profile is
Yeah.
born in America, raised in America, graduated from college in America. But
Mhm.
it sounds like English is your fourth language you learned from a parrot. Like,
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
is this comment
What
that you're
is this?
making?
Well, and the thing is like there are enough people, American people, that have broken English and misspellings and that kind of stuff that I
There
feel
are.
like we just have let it go and we're like, oh, everybody just talks like that. And it's like, no, those people are much fewer and far between than we think. But the bots are really just filling in the gap of it's what is that called? The Goldilocks zone where it's like, I don't know if
Yeah.
you're real. Yeah, my brain can't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Well,
it was like
especially
the
they're not
commentary.
Bob Johnson. Let's put it that way.
No. Yeah. Oh my gosh, the ones that I love and that just crack me up are like the male profiles on like Instagram specifically that come on, they friend you, send you a friend request or they follow or whatever. Then they like 27 of your pictures, all of them. Then they comment how beautiful you are on them and then they send you a message and it's like, can you send me money? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I don't know. Get out of here. Oh my gosh, you're not a person.
Yep. I
love it.
specifically like our Race to Wellness Instagram, Race to Wellness 2023.
Mhm.
But we will get
Follow.
messages from random bots. They're clearly bots of
Yeah.
people who want us to like become ambassadors and things for them. And they will
Yes.
address our message that they send to us. Hi, Race. And it's
Yeah.
like,
All
you
the time.
clearly are not real because we have our names in our bio and we've stated
Mhm.
them many, many times. And yet you address this to, hi, Race.
Right. You're like, you don't know me.
Not at
I love
all.
it. Okay. The lighting is great today. Well, I had this whole like moment in yoga this morning. So it was I was looking in the mirror and the image of my body in the mirror is not what matches up with the image I have in
No.
myself in my head at all in a very positive way. And so I was
Oh,
like, yeah, it was very odd. I had this moment of like, that's what I look like. Like I have this image of like a potato, like
are
literally
you
all the
still
time. I
like
think
picturing postpartum Heather?
postpartum Heather is where I'm picturing. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And so I always feel like my belly's sticking out. I feel like I have lumps and rolls and I'm just pudgy all over the place. And I'm like, I don't think that I actually look like that anymore.
I think that's a common thing with people who were overweight or were out of shape
Mm-hmm.
and not defined and then like lose a bunch of weight or they get really
Mm-hmm.
muscular and defined because
Yeah.
you just don't see it as much. Like
Yeah.
we don't look in the mirror as often as we think we look in the mirror necessarily. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we take photos of ourselves and this, that, and the other all the time, but like our brain 24
Mm-hmm.
7 knows what we look like, quote unquote.
Yeah. It thinks it does.
It thinks it knows what
Yep.
it looks like and it's picturing what I look like. But wait a minute. When I looked down, there was actual bicep on here.
Yeah.
Wait
Mm-hmm. I love
a
it.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Oh, right before we went to break. So I was thinking about how we were talking about those comments, right? And how
Mm-hmm.
like they're broken English and they clearly look
Mm-hmm.
like bots and things like that. I feel like the real people who are then interacting with these, because I will far too often on Facebook be given stuff that so and so has commented on this post. And I'm like, well, I know that that's a real person because they're on my friends and
Mm-hmm.
that. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
why are we commenting on these posts? Because almost always when I see them, they are like angry, like fight on the internet type posts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I wonder how many people know that the more we interact with these posts, the more they're
Mm-hmm.
presented to us.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if there's any way for us to like fight back against it because I feel pretty helpless about it. I'm like, it just feels like something that's normalized at this point of, well, there's bots on the internet. And I'm like, I wonder if there's any way for us to like call it out and be like, bots, this is from a bot, like that kind of stuff without encouraging the engagement on the post. Aside from
Yeah. I just
reporting
try to stay
everything.
out of the comments. Like,
Yeah.
there
Yeah. Yeah.
will
Yeah.
be times when I will dip into the comment section and less than 60 seconds in, I'm always like, why did I do this to myself? This
Yeah.
was a horrible experience. Like,
Yeah.
because it's not engaging to read the comments because these are bots. It's not a real
Mm-hmm.
person's opinion of things. And so then I'm just like, okay, this is stupid. This is dumb. This is incoherent,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, whatever, whatever. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
why did I come here?
Right. Why did I do this to myself?
Because then I'm messing up my feed.
Yeah, for sure. I do like the comment section. This is not related to health and fitness at all, but like thirst traps on TikTok, the comment section, I'm like, I can't believe that you people say this out loud to a stranger on the internet. Like, you dirty, you nasty, naughty. But it's
Yeah,
so
I stay out of
funny.
those comments too because I'm just like, I
You,
don't
oh
need to
my
know how
God.
many pervs are out here.
Pervs. Yeah. I was like,
So I feel like that's our first good tip is trying not to engage. Like, I know it's hard. These
mm-hmm.
articles and these posts and things are written and composed in a way that gets you engaged and gets you to want to click for more. but
Mm-hmm.
it's really not worth it. Read the headline
Yeah.
and scroll on by it, because half the
Yep.
time the headline tells you enough of what you need to know because the article doesn't ever mention anything.
Yeah, for sure. I have a rule actually with my kids that I use. I don't want to call it a rule, but something that I encourage them to follow. So when they find themselves like bickering and fighting with each other or having a difference of opinion, I ask them in the middle of that, I say, is this a conversation that you are going to remember tomorrow? And if that conversation is not something they're going to remember tomorrow, then I say, I think you should walk away from it. Like just walk away. And so I think about that with my internet health, because this is a health topic about how you function on the internet and with social media. But that's a rule that I have for myself. If I'm not going to have the energy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, any of that kind of stuff to come back to this argument tomorrow on the internet, I'm not going to comment on it. I'm going to keep those. I can have that opinion. I can feel the way that I feel about it, and I'm going to walk away from it. That's how
Yeah.
I manage
And
that.
also, like, is this helpful or necessary?
Mm-hmm.
Because I so often, again, every now and then I dip into the comments section, and so
Yeah.
often it is just the exact same thing written 300 times. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
me adding that is not helpful. It's already
No.
mentioned 300 times.
True story. Oh my gosh. Or the ones where people like, especially social media influencers, like related to fitness and health, where they're posting pictures of their body. So many of those comments are like beautiful, stunning, gorgeous, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like,
Fire emoji.
it's like, I am okay. Like, I am totally a fire emoji person. I'll do like stunning on my friends and stuff, but I'm like, but only on people that I know are real people. I'm like, not on strangers on the internet. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We talked about this last week with Ash,
Mm-hmm.
about how commenting on someone else's body, especially someone who you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
actually isn't a great thing to do, because
Mm-hmm.
we don't know their story of how they got to that place. So
Mm-hmm.
they could have really unhealthily lost all of that weight. And now,
Mm-hmm.
us all just reinforcing, you look so much more beautiful now. Oh my God, you look so healthy now,
Mm-hmm.
isn't helping their mental state and isn't helping them get to a point where they can be in a healthy lifestyle and a healthy body, because
Mm-hmm.
we have now reinforced, oh, if I don't eat for 7 days, I look great and
Mm-hmm.
everyone loves me.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. Well, and I'm like, I want to talk about my own experience from that, but I'm like, I talked about it on last week's episode. So if you didn't listen to that, go back and check it out. Ash is amazing. We love her. We
Amazing.
want to be friends with her. So,
This
yes,
is my
Ash is,
long con to be
yeah,
friends with this woman.
true story. Ash was a stranger on the internet, and now she's not a stranger on the internet. So, but like you could tell she was a real person. Come on, guys. Oh my gosh.
She's not a bot, I swear.
She's not a bot. We met her. We FaceTimed with
On
her.
the
It was
internet.
great. On
Oh
the internet. Oh my God. It could all be AI.
no.
It's
It could
taking over
all
the
be a
planet.
deep fake AI.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. That's a great tip though. I think if you guys take anything from that today, that's the tip. The one.
The one. We got a
Walk
couple more.
away. Yep, we got a couple
Just
more
walk
for you.
away. Just walk
Yep,
away.
yep, yep, yep. I think it's important that we talk about the difference in different social media platforms, because I don't
Mhm.
think that people necessarily realize that each one of them is marketed and has a different strategy of how they keep you engaged.
Yeah.
So the three that we kind of wanted to talk about were Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and the way that those kind of impact you differently. I feel like from my perspective, the way that I see it is that Facebook is very much like my close community. I'm only friends with people on there that I know in real life for the most part. People that I've met through work or through family events, all that kind of stuff, people, extended relatives, that sort of thing. So Facebook for me feels like a more close knit community.
Interesting.
Instagram for me feels like a place where I'm friends with, quote unquote, a lot of people on there, or I have people that follow me, or I follow people, a lot of people that I know from fitness scope of my life, but that I have not met in real life. Not necessarily all of them. Like I still have, there's some overlap between Facebook and Instagram of who follows me and who I follow, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those people are people that I know through someone else, but I've never actually met in person. And then TikTok for me just feels like a very broad community where you get to choose to be part of different communities based on your interests and that kind of stuff. But I don't know anybody. Like I have like maybe 10 friends on there that I follow. And even those I'm like, we don't really hang out, but I'm like, you're funny. I'm glad that you're funny over there. So
Nice.
yeah.
I
How
have a
do you
very
feel
different social media, like who's following me, who I'm following, etc.
Yeah.
So Facebook, and I also have a private and a personal and a public Instagram account. So that's a little bit different as well. So
Yeah.
I'll start with Instagram because I have two profiles. One is public. And if you'd like to follow me there, great. I will let you follow me there, obviously, because it's public. But I have a private Instagram account that I post like personal photos, for photos of my family, things like that. And the only people who are allowed to follow me are people I personally know. It does not matter if and now Ash, but I'm just kidding. There's literally very few people that I've never met in real life that are allowed to follow my personal Instagram account because it feels to me very much like this is my personal, like these are the stories I'd like you to see of the event that happened, or this is my house, or this is my family. And so I don't want that to be public all over the internet.
Yeah.
My public profile on there, here's my runs, here's what I ate today, here's whatever. It's very much more generic stuff that it's not personally identifying me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm very different also with who I follow and who I don't follow. So on my personal page, it's mostly people I know. It's not a lot of like random accounts on the internet. Like I follow a few like news ones, and I follow the 30AF page because it's just funny memes. But like for the most part, it's people I know, so that I'm just seeing like content that I'd like to see, and a few like fitness people, I guess, so that I can see like what's going on. But I do not scroll my public feed. So if I follow you on there, I'm so sorry. I don't scroll through that feed. I don't see that content.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Okay. So that's Instagram for me. Facebook, I hate so much because I don't see anyone's stuff that I know really. Like I very rarely see anyone I know because of the way Facebook's algorithm and things work. So if you
this has changed recently, and it's wild.
You don't interact with people, like if you don't really comment or click on their stuff, you stop seeing it. You will see less and less and less until they completely disappear off your page. I like have almost stopped seeing like all of my mom's stuff too, and I'm just like,
oh no,
okay. I don't think she posts as often anymore, but like I'm just like nothing is here. And all I now see on Facebook is pretty much suggested comment of what Facebook thinks I want to see, or sponsored content of, again, what Facebook thinks I need to see. And it's not stuff that I'm like, I care enough about to be like, okay, it's all the stuff we were talking about before. That's like, I'm going to read the headline and scroll through that because I don't need to engage in this.
I will say it's really fascinating because Facebook's algorithm, as far as content that it puts in front of you, is trash compared to TikTok. TikTok, I feel like when I click on something and like it and enjoy it and heart or share or whatever it is, my algorithm picks up on it like that fast. It's so quick that the content changes on my page.
So that brings me to TikTok. And I haven't opened it in quite a few days. The last time I opened it, you had sent me 11 TikToks to look at, and I did not look at any of them because I was like, this is too many right now. I can't. There were 11 and I needed to put it away. And I didn't even like, I opened the app. I saw there were 11 TikToks that you had sent me. I did not even start scrolling through random TikToks on my feed. I just closed the app. I was like, this is overwhelmingly too much.
Brittany can't handle 10 minutes for me for my funny videos. I'm just kidding.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
I feel the same way. I was like, there's sometimes like where it's like one video every once in a while from like my mom, and she's so funny. Fine. She's like, I know it probably drives you crazy. I'm like, no, keep sending them to me. I love it.
One video is great. 11 at one time. I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm like, I should go through and be like, Brittany, just watch this one. You can see how impactful TikTok is in our life because it doesn't even come up in conversation unless I'm like,
I'll send it. I think I send it in Messenger or something if it's like important, or you
Yeah.
should see this. It's
You
so
need to see
good.
this. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, also because, like, no offense to you, I love your stuff that you generally send me. It's fine. But like,
Yeah.
I do not have time for 11 videos that are 4 minutes plus long. I
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
sit
Yeah.
down and watch all of this content right now. I have 5 minutes. I'm not going to be able
Yeah.
to do this. This is not a good use of
Not.
my time. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are more from you in there and I will eventually watch them. But
Yeah.
my
It's not
issue that
even
I
important. I
have
don't even
from
remember what I
TikTok
sent you.
now is that when I open it up, it brings you onto your main feed, quote unquote.
Uh-huh.
And
And it's an
it's
advertisement.
well, it's an advertisement, or it's just the stuff that the algorithm thinks you need to see. It is not the people you follow necessarily. And so
Oh, yes.
I see very few of the people that I follow. Like,
Yeah.
I click on accounts and I'm like, oh my gosh, I like their content. I'd love to see more of it. I will follow them. But then when I open TikTok, I'm not brought to my following page. Yes, I know I can click on the tab that brings you to that tab where I would only see it, but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
immediately bring me there. And
Yeah.
so then I get like stuck on these random videos of like other people
Mm-hmm.
and I start scrolling through those and I'm either frustrated because I'm like, I don't want to see any of this. It's fine.
Yeah.
Or I'm just like, I'm out of time now. And so then I don't see any of the stuff I actually want to see.
Yeah. 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 I totally can. I get that. Yep.
Yeah, so I've almost stopped opening
On
TikTok.
TikTok. I'm like, I find I go through these like ebbs and flows of when I'm interested in it. And right now I'm too busy to,
Care.
I'm like, it's like, yeah, I was like to care about the content. But it's interesting because once you're in like a community of people, people are updating pretty regularly, like daily, about what's going on in their life and that kind of stuff. And so it almost feels like once you're out of it for a while, it can be hard to jump back in and be like, oh my God, what did I miss? Like, how did they get to here in their life? And how often is that what we experience actually in friendships? Where you're like, but you get together and then you catch everybody up, like doing
Yeah.
all together of like, oh my gosh, this is what's happened over the last 6 months since I saw you.
I feel like this type of friendship is really only able to happen because of social media, though, because
Yes.
I am still seeing like so and so posted their photo of this, that, and the other. So I have still seen things that are happening in your life. So I feel like I've caught up with you. I feel like I know what's going on. And then I open my messages, and the last time I've messaged you was February, 4 months ago, and I go, oh, I guess I
Yeah.
haven't talked to them. Like,
Yeah.
I may have commented on their stuff or seen their photos, but we haven't sat down and had a real conversation in a while.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I'm like, it's hard
Yeah.
to remember what I wonder. I'm like, I guess here's my wondering with social media. I wonder if social media didn't exist, if we would then in person make more of an effort to spend time with people.
Yeah. I mean, you can almost like see that pretty clearly of like older generations of like how they choose to do things. Like, yes, we get not we, because I'm no longer in this generation, people. Millennials are no longer the problem. Okay.
Did it again.
So-
It's the best.
It's the worst. So kids nowadays are always being kind of made fun of you should go outside and play with your friends, but they're at home playing video games, chatting with their friends online or whatever, or not even their friends, just people online. And it's like, we have another way of them doing it, and this is their norm now. Whereas before video games and before Messenger and before text messages, you didn't have a way of doing that. So if you wanted to play a game with someone, you had to go to their house.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was like, I see it with my kids. My oldest, it's been really fascinating. So this week he has a friend from school that he talks with pretty much as soon as they get out of school, then they're FaceTiming all evening. And they're not like directly interacting with each other necessarily. They're like commenting on what they're doing to each other, narrating, I suppose, but they are going about their stuff. They're doing their homework, they're eating dinner, they're doing whatever. And it was interesting because he, for like 3 days, was every day, all day. And then they would go to the park together and they were constantly doing stuff. And then there was one day where he was like, they were supposed to go hang out at the park together and she kept calling him and then she kept messaging him and being like, are you okay, and all this kind of stuff. And he just was like, I don't have that mental capacity to do it today. He's like, I need a day off. And it was an interesting like conversation that I had to have with him, because I was like, I've already told him, you can use me as an excuse if you need to with your friends to say, hey, my mom says I need to do this today and I can't hang out. You can totally use me as an excuse. But also communicating with him, like teaching him how to set a boundary with a person, of saying, it doesn't fit in my life for me to be on FaceTime with you all the time, to always have to be available to respond to phone calls and text messages, that kind of stuff. And being able to set that boundary with them. He was so uncomfortable at the idea of having that conversation. And how often as adults do we feel like that? Like, I don't want to have this conversation because I'm afraid of how it's going to go. And so I'm really trying to instill the value in him as a child of, you have to set that boundary. Like, the only reason she continued calling you and text messaging you is because your pattern of behavior hadn't suddenly changed. And she's like, is he dead? Like, we've been talking for 3 days straight and we had plans today. And then he just was gone. And so, yeah, setting that expectation and that boundary of, hey, I need a day off and I'm not available today, or whatever it is.
I think that's another really good tip for people online, because we're so attached to the device of being able to be available 24/7. Literally, my phone is in my hand all day long almost, or it's within arm's reach of me. And so if I had to set this boundary with someone recently, well, not recently, but at one point, where I did not want to respond to them right away because I was doing other stuff. Like, it was annoying to me to have to continuously pick up the phone in the middle of what I was doing, text them back for something that did not need an immediate answer. Like, it's fine if it's like, 911, I need an answer now. Or like, I'm at the grocery store right now, can you look to see if there are eggs, type of thing. That's fine. I will respond to you. But like, random questions like, hey, I was talking to Joe and they wanted to know, they couldn't remember if the curtains are blue or green. Like, it doesn't matter. You're not even talking to them right now. Like, this answer can wait until I'm ready to respond to it later today. But this person, who I'm not going to name,
I was like, is it me, Brittany?
It was Heather. She's so annoying.
She so needy.
Me so many TikToks and then expects me to watch them.
Oh, God.
I'm not gonna watch them.
She's not. It's so good.
Okay, but they got very upset with me over the fact that I was like, look, I don't want to respond to you 24/7 about this question that does not need an immediate response. Like, can you please just let me do whatever I need to do in my own time?
I will say, I was just thinking about the friends that I have in my life and who I interact with and how. And going back to our point about the people that we interact with on social media, I feel like I have less texting conversations or phone conversations with them or meeting with them in person. But the people that, like, I have one specific friend right now who I we text message all freaking day long, and they have zero social media presence at all. And I'm like, oh, that's probably why, because they're not busy with that all day long. But
also, you have to message them to figure out what's going on in their life, because you didn't see them getting a puppy and buying a house.
Yes.
Literally, one of my best friends posted pictures, that's why the puppy's on my mind, of they just got a new puppy. And I was like, oh my gosh, new puppy. Oh,
I love it. I'm not getting a new puppy. No, never, not soon.
Yeah, it wasn't Heather.
Not me. I love how everything right now, I'm like, is it me? Why am I so self-focused today? What is happening?
Is she talking about me? Wait, I didn't get a puppy.
I'm projecting my own insecurities. That's a thing that I'm processing through.
I didn't just birth a child. Hold on.
Oh my God. I know who this person is. It's so good.
Cool.
What other tips do we have?
I think kind of piggybacking off of we kind of talked about earlier, like looking at things with a grain of salt in a way and
Mm-hmm.
vetting, was it funny in the moment? Sure. Do I need to interact and share this with everybody? No.
No.
That sort
Mm-hmm.
of topic. There is, especially in the fitness and nutrition industry, there is a lot about body appearance and transformations and just like, look what you can do if you do this, that, and the other. And it's not necessarily like that they're selling you a product. Maybe they're selling you a product. Maybe they're trying to get you to do their workout. Maybe they're literally just trying to show off themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But there is so much of it online right now. And it goes back to we don't need to be commenting on people's bodies that we don't
Mm-hmm.
know because we don't know how they got there.
Yeah. I
I
love
talked
that tip.
I talked about it in I believe I talked actually I didn't. I cut it out of the podcast. We
Oh, whoops.
discussed in a separate podcast that didn't make it to the podcast about this very influential social media presence who was talking about this before and after of their friend.
Mm-hmm.
And the first photo, they look fantastic. They look amazing. They the problems that they bring up have nothing to do with their body. They were talking about how they didn't feel well in their body. They have indigestion and bloating and gas and upset
Mm-hmm.
tummies and all this stuff. Has nothing to do with the way they look on the outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second photo that they show, and they make it a big deal, being like, bam, look at them now. I thought we were talking about upset tummies and and bloat
Yeah.
and gas, but apparently we're talking about the fact that now they have a six pack. Like,
Yeah.
okay. And it just it doesn't sit well with me when the messaging is supposedly about something non-physical. It's
Mm-hmm.
about, or at least non-visual physical, I should say, because upset
Yeah.
tummies and bloating are physical type things, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
visual on the outside. So the messaging is that, but the way we're advertising it is, oh, it's better. And look at your now six pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It like, yeah, it conflates those two things as being the
Mhm.
same, and it's very much not the same.
It's not. It conflates them to try to make you subconsciously think, well, I'd be healthier if I were skinnier or if I had the six
Mm-hmm.
pack, as opposed to a little bit of fat around the
Mm-hmm.
gut.
Yep.
But to my point of these social media things, you want to pay attention to the messaging that the words are saying in like the caption and what visuals they're using to do that because
Mm-hmm.
so much of it is visual.
Yeah. Do those two things match up? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I also look for when I'm looking at different people on and pages and that kind of stuff on social media, I look for consistency of character. Like I look for, are they consistently sharing a positive message? How are they talking about themselves? What are they promoting? What are they involved with in their life? Like, are they following healthy patterns in their life and behaviors and self analysis and personal growth and that kind of stuff? Are they doing it from a place that is positive? Or are they doing it from a place of selling me something? Are they on a personal wellness journey so that they can make money off of it? Or are they on a personal
Yeah.
wellness journey because they really want to be the best version of themselves?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the people who are in the MLMs
Mm-hmm.
are in the first category of they want to just sell you something because they
Mm-hmm.
were sold something. Like they were sold the
Yeah.
idea of you can work out, lose 5 pounds, and then people will see that and they'll want to buy the product that you're using, and then you'll
Mm-hmm.
be rich and it'll be great. But that's not what happens.
Yeah.
Not at all what happens. And it's also like just so disingenuine
Mm-hmm.
of like then the information that they're putting out, because this is another fault that I have with a lot of these companies that
Mm-hmm.
have like coaches or the salesman people at the MLMs. They're, yes, they're supposed to be proof of the product, but they're not supposed to be the expert on the product. But
Yeah.
they take it as, I need you to buy this, so I'm going to figure out how to get you to buy this any way, shape, or form that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally saw, I was a member of Facebook groups for like these different teams, as we were called. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally saw people posting in there asking, I have someone who's interested, but they have a herniated disc. Is this program good for them? And I'm just like, this is not information you need to be commenting on. You need to
No.
then tell them you need to go to your doctor and ask the
Yeah.
doctor if this is good for you.
Yeah. Stay in your lane.
Exactly. Or they'd say things like, this person has XYZ health condition.
Mm-hmm.
Can they drink this product? And I'm like, this is not your lane. You are not a
Yeah.
nutritionist. You are not a doctor. You are not any sort of like certified person in this
Mm-hmm.
field. Please
Yeah.
don't give them health advice based on their complicated medical conditions. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
their history, you don't know their medications they're taking, you don't know anything about that. Do not tell
Yeah.
them, yes, this is safe for you.
Yeah. Because then if it wasn't actually safe, you could be held liable for that.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that person could be harmed by your stupidity.
Mm-hmm. So that was another big part of why I was like, I don't want to be in this
Mm-hmm.
community anymore because it's full of people who don't know what they're talking about or what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
who maybe they have good intentions, but they are doing it improperly and potentially could harm people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we did pretty good on MLMs. I feel like we talked about the different social medias and the way that we interact with them. And then I feel like we kind of dogged on social media a bit. I was like, maybe we
Yeah.
add something positive in it. Like,
Yeah, we should
these are
end it on a
great things.
positive.
Yeah, I was like, these are great things about social media because there are a lot of, like, I feel like there are a
There
lot of
are.
positives. So the ability to keep up, let's record. Oh, you are recording.
I am.
Brilliant, girl. Good. There we go. I'll turn mine on. But there are a lot of positive things about social media that I don't think get talked about enough.
Or they
And I know
do,
we
and
talked
we
about,
just kind of rag on them as well with it.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I agree. But like thinking about the ability that we have, so we were just talking about the friends that we text with every day consistently who are not on social media, and then the friends who are on social media. I do have friends that are on social media, but I also text message with them pretty regularly, which is interesting and funny and surprising. And then, but that ability, right,
It's me.
Brittany? I was like, Brittany, it's you. I was like, it's you.
It's me.
You
You're
and I
talking about
text
me.
all day, every day. I'm like, I love it so much. That was one of the things you said earlier, where you were like, "Oh, this friend, I had to set a boundary with them because they text me all day and expect a response right away." And I was like, "I don't expect a response." I was like, "This isn't
That's
me.
not me,
She's not
right? Wait
talking
a
about
minute.
me, right? Why am I
Wait,
anxious
did
about
I get a
this?"
puppy?
So dumb. Oh my gosh. But social media around that ability to like keep up with people's lives is actually really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to see what they're going through, the things that they're interested in, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that the most important thing for me, when I think about social media and about presenting myself online, that kind of stuff, we've talked about it before, is that consistency of person. So whatever I'm presenting online is not always just the good stuff. It's the good, the bad, the ugly, the whatever I'm experiencing in life, but also the congruency of internet life versus real life. And that I never want somebody to meet me in real life that I've met on Instagram only, internet friend, and then I meet them in real life and they go, wow, that's not the person I was expecting. I never want that to be the experience. I always want it to be consistent, and they're like, oh my gosh, she's exactly how she presents herself online. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that too.
I question, like, when I'm watching people online and they're always one way, like singular in their way of acting, that's when I go, I think this is a persona, and I choose to
Mm-hmm.
walk away from it or not engage in it as much as I would somebody that is multifaceted. And because I think that we, especially like being in the fitness industry, it's really easy for us to get pigeonholed into being only a fitness person. Like that's all we talk about. And I know that I talk about fitness stuff on my social media a lot, especially because that's like a business driver for me, is my social media presence. But there's other aspects, like there's Heather that's the mom and that is a business owner and that has friends and social, and enjoys concerts and all sorts of things and travel and whatever else. All those pieces together make me a person. And so if somebody is only presenting one facet of themselves online, I tend not to follow them.
I mean, it's probably more that they have what is the word I'm looking for? Agenda. Oh my gosh, that was such a hard word to find. It is
I love it.
probably that they have an agenda to their social media though. Like if they're only presenting fitness content, it's probably because they're trying to attract only fitness content looking people. Like it doesn't, to me, if you only present one facet of things, it's not a game changer for me, because this is probably not a personal profile for you. Like this is not your personal page where your family is going to show up on it. This is more of a business type of page or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think that what that all comes around to is like being aware. Like I think that that's what we keep hitting on in this episode actually, is the awareness around social media. Like not just blankly allowing information to come into you from all these different sources, but really considering the information, the people that are behind it, the agenda that is there, and what you're supposed to be getting from it.
Yeah. Agreed.
We did it.
Now let's just play TikToks for each other. I'm just kidding.
Right? For real though. She's like, oh my gosh.
Thanks for joining us today at Race to Wellness. We hope you found it both fun and informative. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can visit savagehealthllc.com and make a donation on the Race to Wellness page. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our next episode. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us any questions or leave us a comment down below. You can click on the links in the description to follow us on social media, or simply send us an email at racetowellness2023@gmail.com.